Alright guys, you already know it's your boy Joe back at it again, man. Listen, tonight we're going to talk about, jumping around from framework to framework, right? Like, we all do that, man. We constantly, we learning a little bit of HTML, and then we want to go ahead and be like, oh, let me mess around with, some JavaScript. And then out of nowhere, you're like, oh yeah, but I still don't know that much of CSS. But you know what? Let me jump into PHP, and then on top of that, let me just jump to some Ruby. And then even after I learn some Ruby, a little bit, let me jump into some Java or some shit, right? That's a problem that we all have, right? This ain't nothing new. We're not the only ones that's going through this thing. Like, everybody goes through it in the beginning. And at first, you gotta basically understand that, number one, you can't learn everything. You have to understand that. That's number one. You have to look at yourself in the mirror and say, hey, you know what? There's a million languages out there. All I need to do is basically be proficient with, one or two, and pretty much just master those 2 or 3 languages. You can't learn every single framework that comes out every freaking day. Like right now, for example, in JavaScript, everybody's talking about, hey, Vue.js and this and that, and I'm like, well, a few years ago, it was all about Angular, and then I thought we said we don't like the way that Angular is being run, so let's move on from that to something else like Ember, and then everybody jumped onto Ember, right? Then after that, everybody went and was like, you know what, Ember is too opinionated and it's telling you everything. You can't do anything, you can't customize it. Let's go and jump onto something else. React came in. So React came in and everybody's like, okay, there's the second coming of Jesus. You know what I mean? Everybody's like, oh my God, we love React. We love you. We love you, right? And then out of nowhere, new frameworks started popping up. There was Preact, and the other one, Inferno, Aurelia, and a whole bunch of little frameworks came out. And now, last year, pretty much people from Laravel, which is a PHP framework, decided to put Vue.js as their main framework. So what happens there, right? Now everybody gives it attention because hey, why did the guys from Laravel start giving Vue.js attention? Well, very simple. They wasn't gonna give attention to Angular. They wasn't gonna give attention to React for one main reason, that those were frameworks that were pretty much already unlocked, pretty much being already supported by major companies, Google, Facebook, right? The guys from Laravel, they're like, you know what? Let's pick out of all the new frameworks that, that's out there, let's pick one and basically promote the shit out of it. Even though it's pretty much the same shit as Angular and React, only difference is put together, right? The people that were complaining about, I don't like my HTML in the JavaScript, okay, fine, we're gonna make you fucking Vue.js. Here you go, take Vue.js for you. So that's what happened, right? And everybody just jumped on that. And right now it's like a frenzy. Everybody's jumping on Vue.js, and now people is doing tutorials online, and everybody got to jump on it because now you're seeing 20,000 tutorials online, as if Vue.js is the hottest thing in the world, right? But let's be honest, guys. Is it really that good? No, not really. The guy who made it's pretty smart. I like him. He's a good guy. Is it worth changing from React after you already invested so much time into React to just jump onto Vue.js, and now you're gonna start switching up? Or even worse, let's say you have already 20,000 components on your fucking website, right? And then now you're like, oh, you know what? We're just gonna switch over and start building everything in Vue. Now it's like you started all over again, are you really gonna do that? No. Most likely what's gonna happen is that you're gonna have components that are still in React, and then the new ones that you're making, you're gonna make them in Vue.js. I mean, that goes to show you guys, there's no need. If there's something that is already good, just keep using. The fact that other people created something new, great. We applaud it. Great for the open source community. But as a new developer, you cannot be worried about those things because it becomes so confusing. Because now you're spending an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours deciding which one is the one that's supposed to be the best. And in reality, they're all the same shit. You know, like, if you know JavaScript, you could build anything with JavaScript. Like, these guys, they're not really doing anything special. They're just putting things in order, basically. You know, they're putting things in a certain way where it's easier for you to find things, where it's, okay, I know where the models is at, I know where the controllers is at, I know where the view templates is at. You could do that yourself. So yes, it's cool to have a framework, because a framework pretty much, it helps people out. Like, if I'm working with 5 different developers and we all decide to start doing our own thing, we're never gonna be able to collaborate or make, you know, any progress at all on a project. But at the same time, we cannot continue, you know, every 6 months another framework. Last year we was just doing React, now this year we're gonna do, you know, Vue. It's not gonna happen. Like, there's no point, guys. Like, I'm being honest. You guys have to make a choice and decide, hey, am I going to be just following the crowd for no reason, or am I gonna be actually building things? Because that's what you're here for. You're here for programming and to learn to program, learn how to make websites, learn how to make web applications, learn how to make phone applications, whatever it is that you're here for. So why waste your time trying to figure out which one is the best? Trust me, you don't want to deal with that. So I would say, hey guys, I know this is pretty long, but I would say, hey guys, don't be jumping around. You know, like, stick to one thing. Stick to the basics. Like, this is something that happened to me. I'm going to give you a little backstory. When I first started basically learning how to do web development, because like everybody else here, I was just a programmer. I was just, you know, programming little bullshit websites, making my little Dragon Ball Z websites and stuff like that. And then you know, there was a time where I was like, okay, I'm going to take this thing serious. So then I started looking online and I'm like, okay, I don't know how to do this. You know, like, dealing with like single page apps. At that moment, single page apps was everything. Like, everybody wanted to jump on it. So it's like, okay, which one was the best one? They had Ember, they had Backbone, they had a whole bunch of them. And then it's like, here you go, Angular, right? So now I chose Angular, and then I started doing everything through Angular. And then I realized most of the things that I was doing on Angular, I didn't know how to do it in JavaScript, right? So I fell into this trap of just building things with the framework that I had no idea what was going on behind the scenes. Like, you know, because I wasn't like a real expert in JavaScript yet. I was just using a framework. So I was even doing, like, you know, for each loops and doing a whole bunch of stuff that I wasn't even comfortable in coding myself, or like, you know, pure JavaScript. So what was the point of me using Angular if I didn't know JavaScript at that point? You know what I mean? Like, right now, a lot of people is just, you know, if you go to every blog, every YouTuber, every person that's out here, and you're like, hey, I'm trying to learn everything, I'm trying to learn every framework that's out here, you're not gonna learn anything. There's a whole bunch of developers out here that pretty much they know a million frameworks in a million languages, but none of them are senior level on any of them. Like, that's the reality of things. Like, you know what I mean? Like, people are just jumping on the bandwagons of, you know, certain frameworks and be like, this is the best. But at the same time, they were just saying that 3 months ago about the other one. And just before that, there was another one. You know what I mean? Like, every 3-4 months, they're like, this is the best. Come on, guys. Step your game up, man. Like, just focus on one thing. Focus on learning the basics. Focus on learning object-oriented programming. Focus on learning every type of loop that you could do. Focus on learning every type of method that JavaScript might have if you guys are doing the front end, or like something like Ruby. Learn every method that it has. Don't just jump on different bandwagons just because everybody is doing tutorials on a certain framework. Because most of you guys don't even know what the hell is going on. Y'all just learning how to do the framework, but do y'all even know what really going on behind the scenes? No, not really. So at the end of the day, you know, you might go to a job interview and then somebody's gonna come to you and gonna say, hey, do you know what's going on here? How is it that React is rendering the page? You know, the virtual DOM. How does that work, right? Or Angular is a dirty check-in, or you know, or freaking, what is it? Ember is glitter. What the hell is it? What the hell is going on behind the scenes? Most of you guys is gonna be like, I don't know, right? Because you guys don't know JavaScript like that. So I will say, hey, just focus on JavaScript, or focus on the language, man. Don't continue just learning, you know, not even learning, because most of you guys think like, hey, I'm able to create something from a tutorial and now I know how to do JavaScript. No, because you still haven't created any projects on your own. Until you know how to do that yourself, don't worry about no frameworks. Don't worry about learning anything else. Worry about learning the basics. And you already know, it's your boy Joe back at it again, man. I'm out here. Lights is turning off and shit is about to go down. Alright guys, make sure you subscribe and make sure you like this video, man. If you want to support the channel, just click on the links below and basically click either on the Amazon link or you click on the Udemy link. So whenever you buy an item, basically like a little percent, I think it's like 3 or 4%, we get it back over here at the channel and we could actually help out other developers. If you didn't know, we actually give 25% of all the earnings